shawty wanna be me, and that's fine. Your shawty wanna be me, and that's why I give these girls motivation. Look at me for inspiration. Yeah, you know it's true. Yeah, you know that it's true. But your girl can't do it like I do. But she tryna walk all in my shoes.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This your girl Raven here. If you didn't know, now you know. Period. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on your post notifications so that way you could be up to date with whenever I upload. So last time I uploaded a video called For My Men, and we was watching that together, and so I said, hey, like, why not try to do it again? Some of you guys tuned in and you did like it, so let's see how this goes. So today we will be watching one with Kiera and Shamika.
Los Angeles high schooler Kiera DeShield looks to have a brilliant future in store for her.
She was an honor student, and she was moving towards a very promising career.
She really stuck to her studies. She had great goals for herself.
But when she falls for a high school football star, a violent outburst threatens to tear down everything she's built.
He needed a get-out-of-jail-free card, and she was going to do anything to help him get it.
Young love was going to make her travel to a very dark place.
And later, in Athens, Georgia, mother of four Shamika Watson hopes she's found lasting love when a handsome trucker comes into her life.
They were hot and heavy, and they seemed to find love quickly.
But her fiery temper leaves them short on money and options. And one night changes everything for the desperate couple.
She was no stranger to the police, but petty crimes meant nothing in comparison to murder.
Her fear, jealousy, and anger was going to get someone killed.
Her temper was going to get the best of her in the most dangerous ways.
There are hundreds of thousands of women in prison at any given time in the U.S. These are the true stories of women who committed heinous crimes in the name of love. For my man. Growing up in the Golden State, life isn't always easy, but 17-year-old Kiera DeShield makes the best of her situation.
I kind of find it funny. Last week we watched one about a flight attendant, and then this one we watched well, I don't know what it's about, but the girl name is Kiera. So y'all know my sister Kiera, she's a flight attendant, and her name is Kiera. Funny.
Was born and raised in the Crenshaw area of South Los Angeles.
There's a lot of gang violence that happens there, a lot of drugs. It can be a really dangerous place for a kid to grow up.
However, the driven young woman refuses to become another statistic.
Kiera was definitely someone who ready to the beat of her own drum, and she was on the honor roll every year.
Her goal was to be an attorney someday and planned on attending college when she graduated from high school.
Kiera was a young woman who was making leaps and bounds as far as her own personal success. She had a mind of her own, and she certainly wasn't afraid to use it.
At home, her parents make sure she stays grounded.
Her dad was a railroad worker, and her mom was a bus driver. And they were very active in her life. They had strong goals for her.
That's what I'm so confused about. Like, they have both parents and stuff, but they still go down the wrong road.
Kiera had done everything that was asked of her as far as being a good daughter and a good student.
They always start off like that. Y'all notice they're perfect. Straight A's, honor rolls, you know, big future ahead of them. Want to be an attorney.
And Kiera was no different.
She wanted a steady boyfriend, and she just wanted some companionship.
That always
At the
happens.
end of
Always a story.
her junior year, she finally gets her wish.
The quiet bookworm falls for the popular jock, Taekwon Knox, a
What?
fellow junior at Crenshaw High.
Kiera really liked his athletic physique and his charming personality. And I think the thing that Taekwon loved most about her was that she was very book smart.
He was a football player, then he had a pretty successful football career. He had colleges that were looking to recruit him.
But Taekwon's dreams of making it to the NFL as a wide receiver take a serious hit.
He ended up in an argument with an ex-girlfriend that turned violent and physical. And Taekwon was kicked off the high school football team.
The hot-headed athlete acts like the situation isn't.
I thought they were going to say that he injured himself.
Everybody else is the problem. He said, I'm still going to make it.
Taekwon was not concerned about being kicked off the football team. He believed he could get back into the limelight and they would come crawling back to him. In Taekwon's mind, he was that good.
And though Kiara might have heard that he put his hands on his former girlfriend,
She stayed.
she isn't scared off.
I think she saw the red
That's a
flag.
red
It was
flag.
probably all over school how he got kicked off the team.
Kiara found Taekwon edgy, dangerous, and exciting. As a great student and dutiful daughter, these were all things that were missing in her life. And she found it all in one package.
I think for someone who goes from quiet with their books to getting the attention of a football star known at your school, I think she's obviously going to love that.
That old adage, opposites attract, sometimes is true. And that was the case with this couple. Kiara had a good head on her shoulders, and she certainly had great intuition. But just being so involved in this relationship, I believe, might have caused her to lose her way.
Over the summer, the twosome can't spend even a day apart.
Kiara definitely accepted Taekwon.
Isn't that the same house as the last episode?
She wanted love. He gave her what she was missing, and she was happy.
Both Taekwon and Kiara had visions of their future being of a powerful couple together.
But not everyone is feeling this teen love story.
Kiara's parents thought Taekwon was a distraction. I mean, he was taking her away from her goals. And they didn't see the appeal that she saw. They saw someone who was a bit broken, who was rough around the edges, and possibly dangerous.
The fact that Kiara was taking her first walk, if you will, on the wild side, and her parents not liking it, probably encouraged Kiara
To keep
bond
a relationship
closer
with him.
to Taekwon.
Some women tend to be nurturers, and Kiara thought that certainly she could smooth down.
They don't even look
rough
comfortable.
edges That
They
Taekwon
just look
had,
so preachy.
and perhaps turn him into the person that she wanted him to be.
During their
Mistake
senior
numero
year,
uno.
the couple gets even closer. Taekwon even lets his girl see his sensitive side and tells her his real feelings about getting kicked off the team.
He did open up to her about his disappointment, and she was just very compassionate and encouraged him to keep following his dreams.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay.
By Taekwon opening up to Kiara his hopes, his fears, his aspirations, that strengthened the emotional connection.
Some 17-year-old girls really want that perfect relationship, and when they get the guy and he doesn't fit it perfectly, they try to make the fairy tale fit.
Thanks to his girl's support, Taekwon doesn't give up hope that one day he'll play pro ball.
Taekwon sold Kiara on the belief that even from a junior college, scouts would be out looking and recruiting. So Kiara helped Taekwon apply for community colleges close by her so that they could be together.
At the same time, Kiara keeps an eye on her own future.
Kiara's senior year was amazing. She had applied to a ton of colleges and gotten into most of them. She got into UC San Diego. They offered her a full ride to go to school.
She did not
was
fuck that
on
up,
her
yo.
way to achieving all of her dreams.
The next few months fly by, and after they graduate high school, they are excited to be together for another summer.
Kiara got a job, and she was gearing up for her fall semester at UC San Diego.
Taekwon follows in her footsteps and gets a gig at a fast food joint, but isn't thrilled with the chunk change he's making. He's determined to get some paper in his pocket, one way or another. Then one summer night, just after 12 a.m., Taekwon decides to take matters into his own hands. In the parking lot of the El Dorado bowling alley, he sees high school students Christina Dupree and her boyfriend Donovan Posey heading home, and makes his move.
They had almost made it to their car when Taekwon approached and demanded, "Give me what you got."
Donovan told him he didn't have anything.
But Taekwon isn't buying it, and to prove he means business, he pulls out a weapon.
As Taekwon held a gun to Donovan's head, he gave his final warning.
Give me everything you got, or I'll kill you.
It happened just like that. No planning, no nothing. He just was like, give me your money, I'm gonna kill you. And she was just like caught off guard.
On a warm summer night outside a bowling alley in Los
You
Angeles,
couldn't have it like that.
Kiera Dashiell's boyfriend, Taekwon Knox, ruins date night for a young couple when he holds them up at gunpoint and demands all their valuables.
That's when Christina pleaded with him not to hurt her boyfriend. And she said she would give Taekwon everything she had.
She handed over her cell phone.
Oh, that was her.
Donovan gave his wallet and his chain.
Satisfied, Taekwon takes off and thinks he's in the clear, but he's wrong.
Babe, I think I know who that is.
Christina recognizes him as a once popular football star at a rival high school.
The next day, Christina's mother forced her to go to the police department and file a report. And in the report, they named Taekwon as a suspect.
The young man that Kiera had shown so much faith in had robbed two people at gunpoint.
And the dude is a doofus because he does it too without like a mask, like covering himself up, fingerprints, like
The reality
stupid.
is that this relationship was not good for her. So the longer she stayed with Taekwon, the more he was going to put her at risk.
A few weeks later, the couple is chilling at Taekwon's crib when suddenly there's a knock at the door. It's the police. With Christina's solid testimony against Taekwon, the detectives arrest him for armed robbery.
Kiera was dumbfounded. She didn't know why they were arresting him. I think she was shocked and a little scared.
When she learns of the charges, she doesn't take the news well.
Kiera was furious. She couldn't believe what he did and that he would do something like that.
This had to be a major eye-opener for Kiera. This was the point in the relationship where she really needed to realize who she really was in a relationship with and that it would best serve her to cut ties.
The next day, Taekwon's family is able to post bail. Right away, he goes to see Kiera to try to convince his girl that he didn't do it.
I'm not the one.
Initially, Kiera was upset and angry, but she decided to believe in the innocence of her man and stand by him.
Come on.
It's the fairy tale. That was her guy, and even though he had done something wrong, she still loved him.
Whether she truly thought he was innocent or whether she didn't care, it didn't matter. Because at this point, she had turned a blind eye.
And she did, and she really didn't care.
Followed him wherever
She knew she knew he did it.
But the reality is, Taekwon faces serious charges, and if convicted, their relationship is in jeopardy.
They knew they would be separated for a very long time.
Without Christina's testimony, the case would go away. Taekwon believed the only solution to his problem was to call her and convince her not to testify against him.
He about to
Kiera
threaten her.
Taekwon got Christina's cell phone.
He about to kill her.
For weeks, they call the key witness in his case over and over.
They pleaded with her not to testify.
But their pleas fall on deaf ears.
Christina stuck to her guns. She did not allow herself to be intimidated.
Yes, Christina. Yes, the only one with some common sense.
What she knew was right.
After 2 months have passed, they finally realized that their attempts are not going anywhere.
Christina alerts the authorities of the harassing phone calls and decides to play it safe. She and her mom begin to search for a new apartment.
Good thinking.
Kiera is terrified to lose the man she loves, but Taekwon isn't worried at all. He has a new plan.
See, this is why she knows that he really did do
He
it.
told her, if Christina isn't going to back down, then
See, that right there.
Kiera has a decision to make.
Kiera was very...
That's how you know, that was confirmation he's lying, that he actually did do this.
The other option.
In order to stay with her man and to have his back, she was willing to...
Did she really think she was going to stay with her man and they were going to get away with this?
To do to keep him out of prison and with her.
and so she went along with it.
Kiera was just getting herself deeper and deeper into
That's
this
her fault. She dumb.
Sticking by your man is one thing if he's just lying. But
Right.
to be involved with murder,
That's a whole nother thing.
A whole different level.
She's stupid. She is dumb as fuck for that,
About
yo.
a week later, and just 4 days before Christina is set to testify, Taekwon picks up Kiera one morning at 6 a.m. They take off for the witness's apartment. The plan is to ambush her as she leaves for work and silence the one person that can ID him for good.
Once they arrived, Taekwon exited the vehicle.
They didn't
and became
think-
in a shadowed area, and Kiera became the driver.
But Taekwon
They didn't think that if this girl ended up dead, that would not fall back on him. If they're going to court because he robbed them, and she's got numerous threatening phone calls from him, and then she turns around and mysteriously end up dead. He did not think that fingers would point towards her. Well, him. And she didn't think that, Kiera didn't think that either. Like, they didn't think about this whole thing. They just thought, oh, the easy solution so we could be together is to kill old girl. And they just did not think that it was going to come back and bite them in the butt. They just thought they were going to be free and live happily ever after. Oh my gosh, Kiera, you can't be so naive. I'm just trying to think, like, is people really that dumb? It's proof. Every time I watch this show, it's like so much proof that common sense is not so common. Like, I don't get it, y'all. I'm so confused.
His mission never gets off the ground.
Kiera and Taekwon waited for 3 hours.
They were getting pretty restless. She was basically falling asleep in the car, and he was very uncomfortable in the bushes.
They waited for Christina to emerge from her apartment, but she never did. Christina had already left for work.
Frustrated, Taekwon gives up and heads back to the car. But just then, Christina's mother, 46-year-old Pamela Lark, walks out of her daughter's apartment to throw away the trash. Taekwon recognizes Pamela, and the plan evolves once again.
Taekwon decided he was going to send a message through Pamela. After she deposited her trash, she walked towards her car, digging in her purse, attempting to pull out her keys.
The once promising football star stalks the unsuspecting woman just as she reaches her car.
Give me your purse, lady. No! Wait, please, there's nothing.
Taekwon demands her purse again. But before Pamela can get out another word,
He raised the gun to her head.
and later, in Athens, Georgia, mother of 4 Shamika Watson has her life turned inside out when she meets an attractive trucker.
When it comes to her man, all things are a go.
This was a horrific scene. It was a horrible
That's
tragedy.
crazy. And so Kiera was just gonna be like the. No, she was not going to just be the getaway driver.
In the
She was
early
just,
morning
she was really
hours
going to
in
commit
Los
murder
Angeles,
regardless.
California, Kiera DeShiel's boyfriend Taekwon Na has just shot Pamela Lark, an innocent woman whose daughter, Christina, is set to testify against him for armed robbery.
Looking to finish the job and send a message to Christina, Taekwon shot Pamela 4 more times.
Pamela died instantly at the scene.
In his haste to get away, Taekwon leaves behind her purse and valuables. He rushes back to the car and doesn't say a word to Kiera, but she knows what just went down.
Kiara drove off. There was no turning back. She was now an accessory to murder.
There is that situation where you love someone so much that you can't see straight. You're
Nah,
blind to it.
nah,
I think
stop
Kiara
it.
certainly had reached that point.
Nah.
Accomplices
She
part
just
ways
didn't care.
And decide to hook up later that night. Neighbors hear the multiple gunshots, and Pamela's body is soon discovered. Hours later, investigators have the difficult task of letting Christina know that her mother has been viciously murdered. She reminds the detective about the harassing phone calls, and police are able to confirm the calls were made by Taekwon.
Taekwon became the prime suspect in Pamela's murder.
Christina had to have felt guilt over what had happened.
For real.
If I had just kept my mouth shut, my mom would still be alive.
Yeah.
That
Poor
evening,
Christina.
Taekwon arrives home, and the police are there to greet him.
He was immediately arrested and charged with murder.
And thanks to surveillance footage of Kiera and Taekwon at a local fast food chain minutes after the murder, investigators can see that his girlfriend was by his side that morning.
Right.
Knowing that Kiera was probably involved in some way, detectives also arrested her.
Under the hot lights of the interrogation room, Kiera denies her involvement and feeds the detective a convoluted account of her morning.
She said that she borrowed Taekwon's car, picked up a friend, and then fell asleep in a car. This story just didn't make any sense.
Detectives told Kiera, if you come clean, we can get you a deal for reduced prison time. It's in your best interest.
After approximately 12 hours of interrogation and speaking with her parents, Kiera broke down and told investigators what happened.
Kiera admits that the man she loves planned to kill Christina, but claims she never knew who he actually killed. She never asked.
Kiera was arrested for murder with a special circumstance of lying in wait and a special circumstance of attempted robbery.
It's time for Kiera to deal with the mistakes she's made.
She pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter, and the deal was that she was going to get 7 years for her testifying against Taekwon.
But a few months later, her love remains strong, and she simply can't betray Taekwon.
She backpedaled. She lied, and she changed the story.
Even at the bitter end, even with everything that Taekwon had put Kiera through, she still stuck by him.
We did not do anything.
She wanted that fairy tale, even though obviously there was just no happy ending.
The prosecutors rescinded her deal and they charged her with murder.
For real.
Taekwon Knox goes to trial and is convicted of murder. And thanks to Christina's testimony, he's also convicted of the armed robbery in the bowling alley parking lot, along with possession of a firearm. He receives life in prison without parole. With her man now locked up for good, it hits home for Kiera what's at stake. She decides to make yet another deal.
I'm ready to face the consequences.
She realized that in trying to save Taekwon, she had ruined her own life.
Instead of going to trial, Kiera pled guilty to second-degree murder and attempted robbery.
But it's too little, too late.
By sticking by her man, Kiera ended up with life in prison. If Kiera had stuck with her original deal, she would have spent less than 7 years in prison and probably would have already been out.
Right.
It's over. Kiera lost everything, and she
That's
was
what you get.
willing to do all of this for love.
Everyone involved lost. Kiera lost her life, Taekwon lost his life, as well as Christina and her family.
If Kiera had cared about herself enough, she would never
No
be where she is
self-esteem.
now.
Kiera could have been a successful lawyer defending criminals instead of being one herself.
Y'all, that is terrible. Like, honestly, she set herself up for that. I don't care. I don't care if she was desperate. She was desperate for a man. Like, she saw everybody else having boyfriends. That's always the case. Everybody else always got them a man. And she finally get her a man and got some attention and getting some play. And now, oh, we don't have a job. Or, oh, I'm not making money. Okay, like, shoot. The whole world is basically living paycheck to paycheck. Like, what the heck? But are there people going and killing other people? No. Like, no. I mean, there are people doing it, but, like, come on now. Like, life is not that hard. Like, I get it. No, I don't. I can't. Honestly, I feel like Kiera set herself up. That was her fault because she was so desperate for love. And people could say and say she wasn't desperate, but I feel like she was so desperate. She was so desperate. Yes, I get it. You want that. You know, you see your friends, you see your family and everyone with somebody, and you don't have somebody, and you finally get someone, and now it's like your world revolves around that person. But at the same time, you gotta love yourself not to go and do something stupid. Like, if the signs is there, that he's crazy, get the hell out. I have no sympathy for her. She was dumb. Even after she freaking said the complete story, she went back. We didn't do nothing. What did she think was gonna happen? Like, oh, they're both gonna get set free? No. You still stuck by old dude, even in the midst of y'all getting life in prison. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all would do. Like, if you got a man and you was happy that you got a man, or even if you got you a woman and you were excited because you finally in a relationship and they did some dumb stuff, would you stick by them? Would you have their back? Are you that loyal? Let me know in the comments, y'all. Until next time, bye.